it was funny when I was driving earlier today. I had all these like ideas of shit we could talk about, and my day was so long I forgot everything now.
It's funny you say that. That happens to me every time. Or even if it's not a long day, once I start, I kind of just
Yeah.
completely forget. When I first started, I used to write all these notes and questions, and I would completely throw it away. Like once I start talking, I've been lucky that anybody I've had on, they've been like super cool, super chill. So it just feels like you meet up at the gym and you just talk to people, right?
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that. How's everything with you, brother? How's
Good.
it?
I'm just getting ready for this everything with the baby. It's finally happening now. So today we were down in Miami, finalizing all the paperwork and whatnot, and it's just a crazy like the best thing that has ever happened to me is having a baby. But I would never wish anybody to go through like having a sick child is like it's scary. So
Uh,
the guy today, I really like the head of hematology down there. He's just unloaded a lot of information on us today, and he was like, I need to inform you the complications of a bone marrow transplant. He's going to be very sick. He's going to lose all his hair. He's going to have sores in his throat and maybe on his body. He was like, he's going to probably be infertile after this. He's just going through like
damn.
a lot, you know what I mean? And he was like, but he was like, the outcome if he doesn't have a bone marrow transplant is he will be completely mentally incapacitated, by the time he's 9, 10 years old. You know what I mean? So it's just there's obviously no way around it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah,
even he's like, listen, there's probably, if I were to give a percentage, there's a 5% chance of death. He's like, I don't expect it. He's like, infants, babies, it's different than when you're an adult and you've already had stuff beat up your immune system. You know what I mean? When baby
yeah,
immune systems are pretty fresh, so they can take pretty well, but the amount of things that can go wrong, that's what we went over everything today. Like the way they have to give one of the medications is the dosing has to be so precise for what could happen to the liver that they start conservative. They do a formula based on his age and weight, and they start conservative. And the thing is, you have to do enough medicine for it to kill off his current stem cells and immune system. But if you give too much, it'll completely shut your liver down and liver failure, which you obviously like that definitely don't want your liver to fail. You die. So
yeah,
it's a very, very like precise measurement the way they do it. So they're going to be monitoring his blood like nonstop, and then it's a 3-day thing. So the second and third day they increase the dose based on that, because if you don't do enough of it, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It won't
yeah,
kill
yeah.
them, and then your body won't receive the transplant. So it's a lot. He broke that all down for us today,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, September 18th is when he goes in for all that. So
Heavy stuff, PJ.
yeah,
I was about to complain about my weekend. And now I
you can
don't think
still
I
you
should.
can still complain about it. You can still complain about it.
I was like, damn. Now I'm like, okay. My week doesn't seem that difficult. But it's crazy because like seeing his videos. Like, obviously, you told me this a while back, but seeing his videos, like I never would have known. Like he
Yeah,
looks really healthy to me.
yeah.
Does he show symptoms? He doesn't
No.
look like.
The only
Okay,
thing that
okay.
he's shown is, so you would never be able to know this looking at him though. So
Uh-huh.
when he went in for his full workup, he had like dangerously low immunoglobulins.
Okay.
And, so like, we get all our labs done. We look at all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Mhm.
sure you've probably never had dangerously low immunoglobulins. I've seen that on my blood work numerous times. So they were like, it's important that we have to give him this medication to replace that before he goes in for the bone marrow transplant, because his body will be too weak for it.
Yeah.
So stuff that's going on the inside, you wouldn't be able to see it. And then also he had like a hole in his heart that they said is most likely because of his condition. And, you know, again, you wouldn't be able to see that. It's just, he's had to have every aspect of his body evaluated. So, but they do say that Hurler syndrome causes like excessive hair growth. So everybody's always like, "Oh my God, he has so much hair,
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
hair." So you know that could be because of the Hurler syndrome too. So
I was gonna ask when did you know all of this, but you said if he had a hole in like once he was born, they told you like
when he was 3 weeks old, yeah, when he was 3 weeks old, we got a call from a number. It was a Miami number. Kept on calling Marissa's phone, and she was like, "This number keeps calling me. I don't know anybody from Miami." So I was like, "Give it to me." I answered it, and the woman on the phone is like, "I'm looking for the parents of Enzo Braun," and I was like, "Who the hell is this?"
yeah,
And she's like, "My name is, I forget her name. I'm calling from the University of Miami Genetics Department. You need to bring your baby in here immediately. Like, if you could get down here by tomorrow, he has a life-threatening illness." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." I was like, "First of all, how did you get this phone number? You
yeah,
know, this is crazy. Why is my pediatrician not calling me?" She's like, "We already called your pediatrician." She was like, "When your baby was born, you probably didn't realize it because he was in the NICU. They pricked his heel and sent his blood to a lab. And we're the lab that analyzes all of this. And we look for rare genetic mutations. And we believe that your son has MPS1. He's tested in all of the areas for it. And it's life threatening. And, you know, there's no cure for it." And we're like, dude, Marissa's like crying.
oh shit, uh, it's recording still. It still says recording.
Okay.
Holy fuck.
Crazy.
Bro, this happened the last time I filmed too, bro. It's super fucking annoying. I feel like I feel like I have enough work to do now. I got to deal with this nonsense.
Is it a Mac?
No, it's a MacBook. Let me see. This how horrible I am. It's a MacBook Pro. Well, it's the old one. This is
I got an old one.
M1.
Maybe you can make an appointment for one of those nerds at the Apple store, figure out what's going on, you know?
Yeah, I gotta go see the nerds.
Genius bar.
Yeah, but I haven't actually watched the documentary, but I saw the preview, and sometimes I don't know. As I get older, sometimes it's hard for me to watch something. I'll start it, and it's so bad. I'm like, holy fuck.
I'll spoil it for you. If
Uh-huh.
the woman, so this young girl, this sweet young girl, was dating this kid. They're like freshmen in high school, and she starts getting cyberbullied by an unknown number. That's like, your boyfriend's gonna leave you, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But then it starts turning into, "You're a skank, you're a whore, you should just fucking kill yourself, kill yourself." And so the parents are all freaking out, right? So they're starting to like accuse like other kids at school. This goes on for 2 years, right? The sheriff gets involved. They're in this
Hmm.
small town in like the Midwest somewhere. They
Hmm.
can't get to the bottom of this. They get the FBI in. The FBI does like a track on the number, and it goes to the girl's mom's IP address. And the mom had some sort of strange like obsession with the girl's boyfriend, weird as hell, and was cyberbullying her own daughter. And the cops come in and they're like, "Listen, we need to take your computers and all this." And dude, the saddest thing was the girl. The dad comes in and he's like blown away, right? So he finds out the mom has been lying about her job for 2 years. She's acting like she's going to work. She's just sitting on a phone cyberbullying her own daughter all this time like a psycho. And the cops just take the computers and stuff, then leave everybody. The mom is like hugging the daughter. And the mom ends up getting 18 months in prison, right, for stalking and harassment, which is crazy, by the way, because I got 54 months for selling awesome workout supplements. You know what I'm saying?
And then this lady is a complete maniac.
A complete maniac. And this is what made me so sad, right? Now, like, just think first of all, the fact that they got the lady on the show, because I had already heard about the story, and I'm like, oh, I must not know the story because the lady's on the show. How crazy do you have to be to go on the documentary about you stalking your own daughter? And she literally was like, well, people make mistakes. How many people have drunk and drive and not gotten arrested? You know what I mean? You could be in the
Oh
same shoes as
yeah,
me. It's like, no, lady, that's not even close. Like,
yeah.
how do you
She's
psychologically abuse your own child? The daughter was so messed up that at the end, she was like, I miss my mom. Like, I wish I could have my mom back. And that was for me, that like hurt my heart when I saw that.
yeah. The fact that you would at least think if she even understood the gravity of what she did, she
Yeah.
would never show her face on the documentary. But
Mhm.
the fact that she did, I don't think she even understands how bad what she did was.
That's a crazy. So okay, now back to our prior discussion.
Mhm.
That's a bad person. Anybody that would, and
Yeah,
I don't want to hear whatever happened to you that made you do that to your own child. You
that's
know,
too bad. That's too far.
I
That's
mean,
too
I
far.
mean, yeah, that. See, our conversation made me think of that lady, that evil lady.
Yeah, there's limits to the trauma thing. Listen, everybody's traumatized. Not
Yeah,
to not to compare traumas, but everybody got some trauma. For
yeah,
you for you to like harming your own child is just that's just different. That's a different kind of yeah.
yeah,
That's not good.
terrible.
That's not good. Yeah. Holy fuck. Yeah. All right. You want to switch over to some bodybuilding?
Talk about some bodybuilding.
Yeah. I always tell people like this podcast is not a bodybuilding podcast. We just happen to be bodybuilders.
Yeah, but every time I do the podcast, people always say comments. I know that they mean it in a positive way, but I always take it like they're like, yeah, it's cool whenever you go on with Beatty because it's like different, and not everything has to be about bodybuilding. I'm like, I guess that's supposed to be a compliment. Saying it's different is not saying it's good.
But you know what? Nowadays, the when I watch bodybuilders like YouTube's,
Yeah.
the least amount of bodybuilding they do in that video, the more entertaining I find it.
Yeah, I've been watching. First, let me say this because I don't want to upset people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching some of the more like bodybuilding ones, and
Mm-hmm.
they can get a little boring because it's not. I like the guys. Like, who was I watching the other day? And they're both smart guys, Kyle Wilkes and who does he do it with? Barry, is that his name? The blonde
Oh
haired guy,
yeah, yeah. And Andrew Berry, yeah, I know what you're
Andrew
talking
Barry. And they're smart guys. And they were just kind of going back and forth. And it was kind of just like dry. You know what I mean?
about.
And another one, but they were putting good information out. It just, it was very like serious. You know what I
I
mean?
know what you mean. Yeah.
Another one who I leave on in the background a lot, and I admit I like him, is Chase Irons, right? I let Chase Irons go in the back just because I think he does a lot of interesting stuff to himself. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes after 10 minutes, I'll be like, bro, get to the point of what you're trying to say. I could have nailed this in 45 seconds. Like I'm waiting for the punchline, how much you're taking, whatever peptide. He's very, very long winded. He's really long winded.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I've actually had him on this podcast. He does really well on this podcast.
Mhm.
But I'll watch some of his videos, and it'll be like I don't know, like my experience with 30 hours of GH, and I'm watching
Yeah.
it, and then I'll forget what the video's about. I'm like, what's this video even about? I'm like, oh yeah, I remember it was this.
Yeah, because
No, but
you start fast forwarding it, and you're like, when does he even get to the part? Because I watched a lot of his GH videos because I'm so fascinated with the amount of GH that people take, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, here's a guy that's done a lot of stuff to himself. So I watched a bunch of his videos, and I'll tell you personally what I started doing because I still have the urge to like fucking excuse my language, just juice out hard, even though I don't do it. So
Mhm.
I was like, I decided I'm going to do more GH, right? So, but once I get to 5 IUs, my hands just get wrecked. So
Yeah.
after I watched a bunch of his videos, here's what I've been doing, and it's actually working really good. Is so on my training days, which is 5 days a week,
Mhm.
I'm doing two IUs in the morning and four before bed, so six.
Okay.
But I have 2 days that I'm off that I don't do anything at all. And so far, my hands are fine. And I've been doing this for like 3 weeks now. And my body fat has actually gone down a little bit. Couldn't say that I'm actually building any muscle because actually I came off Masteron and my lean mass, according to my scale, has been going down. But I feel good on it. Like I'm sleeping good. My hands, when I was doing it every day, it was messing up my sleep. I was waking up and my hand would be like locked up. And I'm like, how are these guys taking 10 units, like doing all this stuff? So I think once I get used to this, what I may try to do is so two in the morning and then maybe two post workout and then keep the four at bed and see how eight goes on those 5 days and see if I can tolerate that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I'm fascinated by how guys can take so much GH.
I mean, I can in prep when I'm like super lean, but
Yeah.
off season, bro. I mean, I can't tolerate very much in off season. I just like you said, I almost can't sleep
Yeah.
because it's that bad.
I think also people want to argue about that all GH is the same, but like for instance, we got at one point the genotropin pens,
Hmm.
and those are crazy. If you get those real genotropin pens, first of all, I screwed up. I did the math wrong, and I blew through a pen in like 7 days, and my hands were so swollen. My fingers were like sausages that I had to come off of it for like 2 weeks. And I realized, like, okay, I did the math wrong because the pen, I had 12 milligram pens. The Serostim is only 6 milligrams. So it's literally twice as strong, right? So I was only doing like 1.8 IUs of the genotropin pens, and I was getting bigger, but I was staying really lean.
Mm.
And like the Serostim, it makes me more watery, but I could tolerate a higher amount of it, which is interesting.
I didn't like the Saracen very much. I definitely don't think all GH is the same. I
Yeah.
think if it's real, it's gonna work. But the way you feel and look on it, I think is different for sure.
Yeah.
I think some hold less fluid for sure. Some I feel like a little leaner, even like generics because I've only been taking generics for the last I don't know for the last maybe 3 4 years, and even between the generics, there's differences as far as how I look and feel. Sometimes like at 4 IU's, I can't feel my hands, and then sometimes I
Mhm.
could run 8 IU's and I feel fine. But they both worked. It's just
Have
I
you
can
ever done
tolerate
the
different amounts.
genotropin pens before?
No, no.
It's
I've only done as far as farm. I've only done Serostim and I think it was called Sazin or Serrano.
Kaizen, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've
That,
done,
that that's pretty good. I've done that before.
but I didn't feel anything special. Like the way
Well,
people talk about Serostim.
honestly, I think that like the Serostim is kind of like I would say as far as GH goes, it's like the Toyota Camry of GH, right? Like it's reliable. The price is good. It's always around. But the Genos, bro, that's like your like S class Mercedes right there. Like I
I
don't care what
heard.
anyone says, the Genos, dude. That's the only one where I could say I got bigger and leaner consistently on
Hmm.
it. You feel amazing. It makes your skin super tight. Like, and people will say, "Oh, it's the same. It's the same." They just haven't done real genotropin pens.
I heard some good things about Gina Chopin for
But I
sure.
have heard that the quality of generic GH is considerably better than when I was competing.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a different ball game. Like
I
people.
remember I was competing 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, you also gotta remember nowadays we're in the nerd era of bodybuilding,
Yeah.
right? Like bodybuilders, young bodybuilders are nerds. So if you're a nerd, these guys are testing this shit. They have testing kits and tools
Yeah.
and shit. So if like the generics, they have to be good, or these guys would be like, this is fake and this is bad and this is. They know the purity of the shit, bro. Did you ever test purity of your GH?
No. No.
We go by hands. We're like this. We're like, oh look, my hands are swollen. I'm
That's
good.
how I always did it. Yeah.
These
I
guys,
mean,
bro.
though, when I was young, I realized that my one regret is I would have liked to see how good of a bodybuilder I could have been with like actual GH, like what I have now.
Yeah.
Because all I could get back then was like Chinese, like blue tops, whatever. And I remember I've told the story before. I was talking to my buddy Dan Newmeyer, and he was like, "Man, I can't really do more than like 5 units of Serostim without my hands getting swollen and holding a lot of water." He's like, "I got to pull it out before my shows," and I'm like, "I do GH all the way up to my show." He's like, "How much are you doing?" And I was like, 6 units, and he was like, "Are you sure it's real?" And I'm like, I don't know. The guy that I got it from is big. You know how it is when you're 25 years old. You know what I mean? So I was like,
That's it.
and so I was like, you know what? He goes, go and do a whole bottle of it, and just do that for a few days. You'll know if it's real. So I
Yep.
blew through a whole entire kit. I was just doing 10 units every day. Nothing happened at all, and I was like, damn, this stuff's all fake. And my prep had started, and I set aside this is how much money I have for this. You know what I mean? So there was nothing I could do. So like all those pictures of me from back in the day, like all those, I'm not even 30 years old in those pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm young. I would have liked to see how good I could have been using real GH back then. Because now I'm old and I'm fat and I'm staying in somewhat decent shape because I'm on GH. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's literally what I tell people. Like, if they're like, "Oh, I'm not sure if it's real," I say, do a whole bottle every day. Do a
Yeah.
whole bottle every day.
Well, no.
And I don't even want to tell you what you should feel. I want you to tell me,
Yep.
because if you can't tell me, I don't believe it's real. I don't believe it's real. All right, let's check this out. Let's check this out. I got a client in about, what time is it? In about 20 minutes.
No worries.
But let's see
Did
this.
you watch the stream yesterday?
I didn't watch the stream, but I was keeping up with the like AJ and the people
Yeah,
that were.
I didn't get to watch the stream, but I watched all of AJ's stuff after.
His shit
So
looked better than the stream.
let me tell you something. That whatever he had on, and I don't know who watched the stream and who didn't, but the video quality on his page, all the shows should be like that.
Yeah, because it looks more comparable to what they look like in real life. Like
You know what?
from.
To me, the lighting and everything, and the way that stream was, reminded me of the old days when the shows when everybody looked crazy, the way the lighting was, like the old Iron Man shows from back in the day.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. It gave that look, because from the stream, it's always a little sus. Mark Hector, man, if he didn't have that shoulder injury,
Yeah,
because his posing is hard for him to get into poses. He almost can't hit front back double. He can barely hit the lat spread, and he has the I think he has the best. I want to say, because Quint's shape, he has probably the most muscle, the roundest muscle, and probably the most pleasing physique to look at. And unfortunately, he can't display it the way Urs can display it.
yeah.
You know. What did you think? Did you think it was well deserved?
Yes, I'll tell you. So, I was watching it and seeing the guys come out. So, first of all, I'm a big. I've there's guys that I really like, and they tend to usually be taller.
Hmm.
I'm a big like tall bodybuilder fan, so I really like I like Quentin a
Quint.
lot. I
Yeah.
like him a lot. So you know he had the first show against Jordan, the second show against Jordan. Now this one, I personally think on the stream looked like he was the best that he's been.
I think so. Yeah.
At least as from a conditioning standpoint, he looked the hardest and driest, and he has just an is incredible structure, right? So
Hmm.
seeing him, I'm like, okay, he won. Then when I saw Urs, it kind of, I dare to say this, but it gave me like those Dorian-esque vibes
100%.
with how dry and grainy he was. And so here's the thing with Urs. First of all, his wow factor because of what he looked like last year to now was I know that had to blow everybody's mind, right?
Hmm.
so people will critique him and say that his arms aren't good and that his back's not good, right? But his arms came up a lot. And
Yeah, yeah,
whereas he may not have the width and taper of Q, when he drove his arms back, right, and the Christmas tree came out, that was like Dorian Yates, bro.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
on the stream, when he pulled back like that, how deep and grainy that was. And then the quad sweep from the back and the glutes, that was where I think he really separated himself. And, I think that he was absolutely the deserved winner. And I think it was a very, very good show. Listen, bodybuilding this year is a lot more exciting than it's been in a couple. I think this is a good time.
Insane. And as crazy as it sounds, him being a classic guy, as far as muscularity, he looked to be, I know he probably not on the scale, but he looked to actually be one of the more muscular guys just because the quality of the muscle, right? Q Q is a bigger guy, but he has the Derek Lunsford thing sometimes where his upper body through the chest and
Yeah. Mhm.
shoulders, it just doesn't push against the skin, so you
Yeah.
don't see the detail. Whereas his quads are separated, his glutes are separated, but in this area, you just don't see the. You just don't see. I don't think there's any like he. I don't think he's holding fat on his chest. Like I don't think it works that way. I just think it doesn't have that look to it. And when you stand next to somebody like Jordan or Joe or Urs,
Mhm.
it's gonna be hard to beat those guys when they have all that shit going on there, you know. And yeah, but I definitely think this is his best because both glutes are striated, hamstrings are in, quads are feathered. Um, Unfortunately, he still needs more time. I feel
Yeah. He's
he
only
still needs more
31 years
time.
old though, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's not going to add 20 pounds of muscle a year. That's not how it works. I mean, Samson did it. We see some guys do it. Just Joe did it. Jordan did it, but that's just not everybody's journey. Some
No.
people is going to take longer, and you almost have to be okay with it. It is what it is. That's just everybody's journey is different. The taller guys you notice, like the Samsons and Andrews, they're they're in their 40s, bro. We gotta think about that. It's like it takes longer for
Yeah.
some of these taller guys, and for him, it's been taking longer, but he's still 10 years younger than those guys. So
I asked him because I always have to people that are watching this that don't know, I always have to think about what I say before I say it to not incriminate myself. So even though I'm not involved with Blackstone Labs at all, I've
uh-huh.
the guys that are there, I'm like, hey, you got to have to find somebody really popular, somebody really good
Hmm.
to take my place because I'm not allowed to come back, right? Like the company needs like an identity. It's been PG Brown Labs for all this time, and I can't come back. So, there were some guys that we were looking at, and or they were looking at, and so
Yeah.
they went with Joe, who I love, and I will say that Joe is very, very, very humble. That was one of the things that appealed a lot because for somebody that's that good and coming on that strong, I couldn't believe how like humble and kind and appreciative he was, and that was like for me, I was like, God, I would say that's the guy, right? He's a guy that I believe that you can build a company around. But I was very, very surprised. I had wrote something. People were bashing Q on somebody's page, right? And I was like, you guys don't know shit about bodybuilding. Like, I felt the need to go and like say a bunch of things. And
Yeah.
he saw it and he DM'd me and he was like, hey, I just wanted to say thank you for saying those nice things about me. I was
Mhm.
like, I wrote him back and I was like, wow, thank you for even acknowledging that. I go, don't listen to what these people say about you. I said, I believe that you have what it takes to be Mr. Olympia. It's going to take you a little bit longer. I was like, if you don't mind, how old are you? He said 31. I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, man, 31? Think about it. Like Tony Freeman didn't really start killing it until he was like 40.
Yes. Well, that's the thing we have to remember because a lot of times, you can't help but to compare yourself. But you can't compare yourself to somebody 5'7" when you're
Mm-mm.
6'2".
No.
It's a different journey. So
I think
that's
a lot
why.
of people don't understand that though.
No, a lot of people don't. To be honest, even with drugs, like if Lee Priest is like, yo, I take 400 tests, and it's like, yeah, but when you're 6'2", you might need more than 400
Yeah.
tests. So, and it is what it is. So, yeah, we have to keep it just because you have Martin who's 27 or Nick who was on the scene like that around the same age. Yeah, but it's not gonna. When Samson was 31, he was a quarter of the size. So it's just his battle is gonna be different. It's
Yeah.
just gonna be year after year. He has 10 pounds of muscle. You might not even notice it.
It's
Right?
it,
Like,
it's true. It's when you're that tall and spread out, 10 pounds is going to look a lot different than when you're 5'7" or 5'8".
exactly. And then Martin say, "Oh, I actually came in like 2 pounds heavier than last year," and you're like, "Well, you look like a different
Yeah.
bodybuilder."
I
I
think
think he said he was the same weight. I think he said actually
it didn't Joe like say that he weighed around the same as he did a year ago,
last
and
year.
yeah, and he looked dramatically different, I thought.
Yeah, you see, and Joe is like 5'8", so it's like it's different, bro. It's
Mhm.
different. So you got to be careful. Even I actually feel better about myself now because I'll be in the gym with Joe and I'll be comparing like the back double. I'm like, am I that far behind? But then now they're like, this is one of the best in the whole league. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
good. And then now it makes me feel better,
I
because
think
I'm like,
5'8" is like, as far as having success goes, 5'8" is like that's the height for bodybuilding.
yeah, I think so
Because
because you mhm.
even though 5'10" is not tall by society's standards, it's just tall enough where it makes it take longer to fill out. There's more space to fill out.
I
Um,
agree. I agree.
there's not that many. I mean, not. I don't know. Like, if you look at bodybuilding over the years, you could argue that there's a lot of taller Mr. Olympias, but by
Hmm.
taller we mean 5'10", 5'11". You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman's what, 5'11". Every time I've met Ronnie Coleman, he's the same height as me. Jay is like what, 5'9". I'm a little taller than Jay, but they actually look way taller than all the guys that they compete against for the most part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you're gonna be over 5'10", you have to have the right proportions for sure.
Yeah,
Like Samson, even though Samson is 5'11", you see him in a picture, he doesn't look that tall because his proportions, like Andrew Jack's proportions, is really lanky looking, right?
yeah.
Luckily for like somebody like Samson, he doesn't have those proportions because it's definitely harder. And you don't want to be too short because if you're 5'7", you're good. But once you start getting like 5'5", that might
It's a
hurt
fine
you.
line. Yeah,
But 5'8", I think that's the best. That's the best for bodybuilding. I mean, most of those guys. I mean, you look at the top 10, right? We got Derek, Hadi, we got Martin, Nick. Damn, I don't know who else is in there. Tonio, maybe. But yeah, I would say most guys are gonna be below, definitely below 5'11". I would say.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
if these guys gave their real heights what they actually are,
Yes.
because they're being generous, a lot of them, and this is not to start shit. But even like Guy, that's my boy, right? Used to say he was 5'6". My
Uh-huh.
wife is 5'6". She towers over Guy. You know what I mean? So
Well, the same thing. I think it was Ben Chow. Because Ben Chow was actually 6'1", I believe, and
yeah,
then he was like everybody. He like everybody's 6 feet. Nobody's six. They're not. Because think about it. Nobody's 5'10". Why is
yeah.
nobody 5'10"? Because once you're over 5'9", you're 6 foot. So so it's like from 5'9", everybody's 6 foot. And it's like you're not 6 foot. So I think when you're actually 6 foot, you notice that I'm actually 5'11", and I
Yeah.
usually say 5'11". And then I hear, oh, this guy's 6 foot. I'm like, I have pictures with all these guys. It's like, no, they're not 6 foot.
It's funny because I'm 5'11", right?
Hmm.
And actually, it's interesting. In prison, they measured me 5'10", so I don't know if I lost an inch over the years.
Yeah.
But I was 5'11", and Singerman's tall. He's 6'2".
Yeah, he's tall. Yeah.
But we were always together, so people thought that I was really short. But then when I was competing, they'd be like, "Damn!" They were like, "You're so much taller than everybody. I thought you were going to be like really tall when I met you." And I'm like, "You don't understand. They're all like 5'6",
Exactly.
5'7", maybe. Like it's not a sport for you know. There are over the years. There's always some like freaky super heavyweight guys that show up that are
Mhm.
like 6'2", 6'3", like just monster guys, but not very often.
It's not super common at all. It's not
No.
super common at all. Speaking of tall guys, we got Keone gonna compete against the tall guys. And did you see this actually?
No, he's going to do open. Wow.
I didn't. So I didn't. I saw he posted a video, and I didn't listen to it because it was my volume wasn't on. But then I saw this post. But yeah, he's gonna do open right after the Olympia, right? What's
Good
the
for him.
yeah? Listen, Keone, when you have a physique like that, I
Mhm.
don't care who the fuck you're going against. You're
Yep.
gonna be fighting for the win.
Yep.
Like it's just it makes no difference. His height makes no difference. When you look like this, your height makes no difference. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that I would say right now there's only a very small handful of the best open guys in the world that would beat him in an open show.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
um, and I think that he's not far away from being able to be the best open bodybuilder in the world. I don't care how short he is. He
No.
has the best genetic shape and structure and proportions of anyone that I've literally ever seen.
Yeah.
If you made him 5'9", he would be
Oh
probably
yeah.
the only guy that you could say is Ronnie Coleman or better.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got that crazy of gifts. So unless Samson and those guys show up at the show later, I'll put my money on him right now.
Yeah. Lee Priest said it best. We have to stop saying like big and small. Let's say
Yeah,
tall and short. Because if we're talking about muscularity standpoint, oh, he won't be big enough. He's not tall, but he has all the muscle he needs.
yeah.
You know, it's like people kept everybody was saying that about Derek. Ah, he won't be big. And in my head, I'm like, I mean, he won't be bigger than the biggest guys, but
Yeah.
when does the biggest guy actually win the Olympia? Like, if not,
People are really like far removed from the days of no other classes and having much different sizes and shapes up there
yeah,
because I fell in love with bodybuilding where Sean Ray was beating a lot of guys, Lee Priest was beating a lot of guys, and they were 200 pounds,
yeah. Listen,
so dude, Sean Ray at his best, he was in the top five of the Olympia all those years. At 200 pounds, beat just about everybody on the planet.
exactly. Yeah. So I think we give the height too much credit. I mean,
Yeah,
there's some beautiful tall physiques, some beautiful short physiques too. With classic, people always say, yeah. You know, the taller guys do better. You have to be a tall, structured guy. And I'm like, bro, look at the top 10. Like, what are we actually talking about here? Like, like actually look at these guys. I mean, you got Mike the badass is what like 5'7", 5'8", if that.
mm-hmm.
Terrence like 5'5", maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's short.
You know, so
If they didn't convince Flex Lewis to stay in 212, he would have really blown people away what he could have
yeah.
did because we were really tight back then. And
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time around him. He in the off season, bro, how crazy that he would look, but he would always stay covered up. He
Yeah.
would walk around so lean in the 235, 240 range, and he couldn't really eat food because
Yeah.
he'd like, mates, I have to keep my weight down. It's so hard for me to make the weight classes. So I used to be like, listen, it's cool. You're going to be Mr. Olympia until you retire. I would love to see like what he could have done because he
True.
had so much dense muscle. So like somebody like Keone, how many times does he want to be the 212 champ? I believe he can keep winning it as many times as he wants. I don't think another Keone's coming around anytime soon. When does he get tired of that and decide, okay, I want to see how far? Because isn't it about progression, right? That's what we do.
Exactly.
We want to keep progressing.
You're gonna get bored of it eventually. Honestly, at the time that Flex was talking about it, I didn't know how he would stack up stature wise because we hadn't seen it yet. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know, I got to see it. But obviously, after seeing the hotties and the Derricks and stuff, I'm like, it's just the same shit, just shorter. That's all it is. It's just bodybuilding. He's just shorter. It's not a big deal. You just
And
who cares?
Flex had, they knock. So Derek's upper body is crazy. It really is. His back is, amongst the best ever, I think, especially for a shorter guy. So maybe Flex wouldn't have had him there, but Flex's lower body was really damn good, really, really good. And he had to really suffer. So for him to be able to let all that stuff go, he would have been pretty freaky. He was a very impressive when you see him in real life guy holding himself back. The issue would have been though the Phil Heath factor. Was it going to be Phil Heath?
Yeah,
probably not.
Phil is,
Probably not.
It was hard to appreciate because the Flex sometimes would look bottom heavy, but then you see him pose in shorts or like pants, and you're like, damn, his upper body actually look at his shoulders and arms and. His upper body is very impressive, but his legs were so good, it almost negated that until he covered up his legs. You're like, well, actually, his upper body is world class as well.
Well, my at the time, my banker, he was a bodybuilding fan. He used to come by the office all the time, and he had met Evan Centopani, right? He had met Akeem Williams. I mean, I could go list all these guys. He's met some huge guys. But when he met Flex, he said, I've never seen anyone of all these guys that you've had in here with muscles like that before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there was also like a different look to his physique. He had some things you can't buy, you can't recreate, just the skin texture.
Yes.
And he had that really dry, crazy skin texture.
Yeah. His forearms would get really, really crazy looking when he was in shape.
But we're also talking about a guy that was probably really flat. Like, if not really flat, he definitely wasn't full because he couldn't be. So if we talk about that as well, I mean, imagine him full blown. Look what happened to Urs just not making the weight class, right? Yeah. Right. So you hold yourself back all this time. Your body actually wants to fill out, and then when it pushes against the skin even more, sometimes you look even more detailed.
I was I'm going to keep on tooting my own horn today because I'm in that kind of mood. I was on somebody's page, and again, this is one of the things that annoys me about the current state of bodybuilding. There's so many haters; it's ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys, I click on their picture, and they're like schmucks, right? But so people were saying what a stupid decision this is, dumb decision, should have stayed in classic. He's not open. He's classic. I'm like, what does that mean? It's all bodybuilding. I'm like, do you understand how hard it has been? The guy has said that he has suffered to make this weight, and he was currently, 15 kilograms or whatever he was over. That's 30 something pounds. I'm like, he's going to look crazy. Will he be as lean? I don't know. But he actually looked harder because he wasn't so flat.
I thought the same thing. I thought he looked actually harder, but super round as well. Super round as well. I actually, this is Flex right here. I think it's 2018. But I actually said on the last podcast that I didn't actually believe he would be 260 on stage, but I said if he did, he's gonna win the show. Because Jordan just beat some of these guys. Jordan just beat Quint and Joe in a better lineup, in my opinion. And Jordan is they almost have the same strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah, I would say
And
that.
Jordan is the same height, 260. So if he's all of the 260 and it's not like soft young muscle and it's dense, well, he's gonna win. And that's literally what happened. I just didn't know if he would actually be that heavy, but he weighed him. I was watching his vlog, and he was 261. So
Yeah,
he actually was. So I mean, it looked like it to me.
yeah.
I'm not gonna argue
He
that.
looked he looked taller than what he's listed as too.
Yeah, yeah. That picture. I'm trying to remember who was actually taller. Uh, that picture I posted with him. I think if I'm 5'11", he's at least 5'11", because
I read online it says that he's 5'9", but
oh no, he definitely taller than.
next to Q, he only looked like an inch or two shorter than him.
Yeah, he's definitely taller than that. I don't know who was hiding him in, but I mean, I would say yeah, same height, same height.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe well, that's his hair. Yeah, I would say same height. He's definitely 5'11", and he if he just started growth hormone recently, he might he might uh he might get an inch taller, you
Yeah,
know. But
that's fine.
yeah, I thought this is probably the most exciting news we've gotten going into the Olympia in a
Yeah,
while. You
yeah.
know, the only thing that would have been if Quint can qualify, which if Urs does Germany, that's going to be tough. But if Quint could go to that would be fire. You know, I would have loved to see Joe and Quint go. But we'll see them next year if he doesn't go this year. But yeah, where can you see Urs placing like highest cap?
It's a good
Who
question.
can't he beat? Like
Uh,
you have the
well,
top five guy. Uh-huh.
let's get the. There's probably a more guys ahead of him if we start like really thinking about it right now.
So
Because
let's go. Let's go. Samson, Nick,
Sampson, Derek, Hottie,
uh,
Nick, Sampson,
Martin,
Derek, Hottie, Nick, Martin. That's five.
Andrew.
Six.
Would you go? You want to go Curry, or who you going next?
Bonac.
Bonak. You have like a Brett. You have like the Currys.
So then this is an interesting group because fighting to get into that outside of that six, right? You've
Mhm.
got
Hunter is in there. Rafa is in there.
yeah, and Brett, you just said. And then
Regan.
you've got honestly probably put Jordan right there also.
I
Um
can see that. Tonio. To be, I gotta be honest. When it comes to Curry, Bonak, Tonio, Regan, Brett, Jordan, and I would throw Urs. I feel like, I feel like that's open.
yeah.
I feel like that could go. You know, obviously, if you go by track record, you would say Curry and Bonak, but they're also at the towards the end of their career.
The judges
Um,
like Bonac though.
they like him.
Always plays as well. Oh, and we forgot about Sass too.
I mean, Sas almost beat Andrew, or he did
Yeah.
beat him in prejudging possibly. So, I mean, I feel like we're forgetting people though. Oh, but Crazy, a lot of people are out too because those spots, Hunter would be in those spots. Rafa, Crazy potentially. Beirut is not going to be there. Damn, there's a lot of people kind of out.
Oh,
Nexzilla,
Beirut is definitely not going to be there, huh? That's right.
Nathan Adiasha, Nexzilla. I don't know about Nexzilla. I got to be honest with you. Uh, I don't think he beats the Tonios in there. I don't think he's put together right.
No, what's going to be really interesting is the guys who I expect to really hit their condition that might not have the same tools, but will be big and conditioned like Urs and Jordan, like where they fit in this. Because you got to say Jordan, he brought, if anything, the exact same very good package two times in a row, right? So you have to assume that him and Tuttle are going to do it again. You know that he's going to be in really damn good shape. And
Those
what
are
is
the dangers.
that? You know?
I think those are that's kind of the guy Ian was. Those guys are dangerous because nobody's thinking this guy's gonna beat all these guys. But then you think about it, the consistency of the condition and fullness and density, you're gonna be if anybody's even a little bit off, you won't stand a chance against them. You stand next to a guy like that and you're off, you're not gonna beat them.
I think Brett Wilkin will bring it. I think he'll bring very, very, very gnarly condition also. And so it's going to be a matter of he'll be, he's a little shorter than those guys. You know what I mean? How is he going to stack up there? But he's one of those guys that I expect will bring very, very good condition also.
So if we talk about that seventh place, I think they're all fighting for that seventh place.
Yeah.
I don't think that's given to. If we're betting, you would probably put Bonac because of the track record. They put Bonac beat Tonio at Dubai. I probably would have had Tonio ahead of Bonac.
Personally, I had Tonio, but we're not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like you said, they like Bonac's look. So a betting man, I would probably put him at that seventh spot. But I don't think it's secure for anybody because Brandon Curry he got like fourth at the Arnold. Then he beat that means he beat Bonac and he beat a lot of guys.
Yeah,
which we didn't see that coming from Brandon. So I think that could go. I think we just named like 6 guys who could be seventh, and I think it might sound like a reach, but I think can battle for that spot as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely made a big statement at that show.
Yeah. And I feel like Jordan doesn't get enough credit. Like he beat really, really good guys.
Yeah, he did.
We're talking about Joe, Quint, John Jewett. Mm-hmm. We had Stu in there. That lineup was
that lineup was, listen, John Jewett brought a freaky package, man. He brought a freaky package.
I would argue that was his best ever in Texas.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Joe. I was like, I really surprised me, man, because I was like, damn, Joe beats John Jewett. And John Jewett is a freak. So
John is the same.
I would say even in at the second show too, I wouldn't have been mad if Joe won that show, the second show. I thought Joe was better, and he had some really, really good shots, but I also wasn't mad at Jordan winning. It was tight show. But the fact that Jordan did that 2 times in a row, that's big statement, having 2 big wins against Joe, who now they're looking at Joe too. So they see Joe came back better, I think that Jordan, it's probably the safest bet is Jordan, but I think Urs made a really, really big statement.
Jordan and Joe, I feel like Joe has more strengths and then Jordan has less weaknesses. It's like it's like but judges tend to go with less weaknesses, I feel.
Yeah.
Like Dexter, you'll be like, you're looking at Rolly, you're like, Rolly got more strengths than him, but Dexter got less weaknesses.
The thing with Dexter is that he was so balanced that it almost took away from how good he was.
100%.
You know what I mean? Tonio was kind of like that, actually.
Yeah.
He is similar to Dexter in many ways. So, like with Joe, in his front shots, you see his quad sweep. The eye goes to that. He doesn't have the smallest waist. But I personally, the side shots, I think Joe is as good as anybody in bodybuilding right now.
And the back shots.
And side try crazy. And then his back shots, the first of all, from the waist down, he's nailed it with the glutes and the hams. And he's very, very dense. He's got slabs of muscle in the back shot. So once he gets that extra width in his quads, I think then it'll be a different story. Which, like you said, Jordan doesn't really, if you wanted to nitpick on Jordan, you could say his lats aren't the widest. You know what I mean? Like he could bring his back up more, but he brings a lot of detail back there.
You watch Jordan posing. There's no pose he hits that shit like, damn, shit, look,
Mm.
whoa, look at this pose. But every pose, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good pose. That's really,
Yep.
and it doesn't hurt him on stage, but like going into the show, you're seeing updates. You'd be like, he's shredded. He put on a
Yeah.
ton of muscle, but nothing's jumping out. So you're like, okay, in the lineup, is he gonna win? And you're like, he could, but and then you don't realize how big he is. Like he has a lot of muscle, but because of the balance, you almost don't, right? You almost can't tell. You're like, I don't know. I don't. How big
Yeah,
is he gonna be?
he has a Branch Warren kind of like dense, thick muscle, hard muscle, where Branch wasn't like he didn't have like certain areas that were separated as other guys, but he had just dense, hard muscle.
100%.
Um, and I think that the judges really, if there's one thing that the judges really, really love, it's when you turn around, if your glutes are that striated and hard,
They
it's
love it.
hard to
Yeah,
deny that.
it
That's the most
is. Yeah.
key important body part in bodybuilding.
Yeah, but because it screams condition. It
Yeah.
just screams condition.
And he has that like that Flex Lewis like chiseled out. Urs had that too. Urs had that.
Uh,
When they see that, they will
mhm.
ignore certain other things if you really, really bring that.
Joe has that too. See,
Yep.
with Joe in person, it's the freakiest shit you've seen. But then, in my head, I'm trying to manage expectation. I'm like, this is impossible. I'm watching him hit a back up. I'm like, nobody can beat that. Literally
Yeah.
nobody. But because I've seen a lot of these guys in person. I'm like, but then they're like, okay, am I just bugging? Am I just being biased? Right? You almost don't know because this is my friend. So I'm like, maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe it's just me. But if everybody's seeing what I'm seeing, everybody's like, yeah, we see what you're seeing. When Compton says it, then I'm like, okay, we're not crazy here because Compton will
Yeah.
never blow smoke. So when Compton like he can win the show, then I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. Nobody else believes it, but as long as we all seeing the same shit here, then we on the same page. And then they gave him. It wasn't like they were trying to give him the page. They gave him a shot. Like, let's see how he looks, and he
Yeah.
kept moving in. And they're like, they didn't give it to him easy. It was kind of like they made him work for it. Like, let's
Yeah.
see, give him a shot. And because his posing, him and Paul posed like insane. Like nobody can get me tired posing. They can because we're posing after all of this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to go home at this point. So when everybody's fading, he's not gonna fade. Joe's not
And
gonna
that's
fade.
huge. That's huge. That's another thing. The judges, when they're working you and you stay strong, that's another thing that you earn that respect from them that way. I've seen
Yeah.
them over the years. I've seen like Steve say to guys like, "Hey, are you all right?" When
Yeah,
they're
me too.
really, really like getting weak and like tired and stuff. And when guys are staying strong, like they don't forget that.
That's not good. Yeah, you don't even want Steve to have to ask you that
No,
question.
I've seen him do that before. Like, uh
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
oh.
So if they even ask that, but the crazy part of that, as big as muscular as Joe is, you would think he would get winded, right? Because it's not easy having that muscle. But whenever you see him in person, bro, you're gonna be like, well, that's he's a lot bigger than I thought. And
Yeah, I can't wait.
we were thinking this even at the Cal. I remember at the Cal, I'm like, he wasn't as peeled in the Cal, but just the size. In my head, I'm like, I don't think they could miss him. And they missed him. They missed him. I mean, he was better this year, but he wasn't 15th place. Like and Cal, he didn't deserve 15th place. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He just honestly the improvement that he's made in the amount of time that he's made is mind blowing. He's born to do this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And it couldn't have happened to a better guy because he's a really good dude. He's a really good dude.
He told me that he's really like modeled Jay Cutler as like a blueprint for, like what to do.
Oh, he loves Jay. Yeah,
And I told him, I was like, it's funny that you say that because, I still talk to Jay, and not
yeah,
as much as I used to, but Jay's always been like really like helpful with certain things behind the scenes when it comes to like decisions that I've made with bodybuilding and stuff. And I was like, this is gonna be the guy that we're gonna make be the face of Blackstone. And he goes, I think he's really special.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Jay says that, then that's a big deal.
Yeah, Jay always shows some love at the expos. Like he'll see
Yeah.
Joe and he'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" And he'll so yeah, he definitely he was aware of who Joe, and Jay had like perfect memory for some reason.
Yeah, Jay has the best memory of anyone I know. He's incredible. He remembers everything.
Bro, I remember I one of the expos, so I didn't know if he gonna remember any of us, and he sees and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" What up? And then not only he remembers me, the girl I was with, he remembers her doing one of his shows
Yeah.
like a year ago. I'm like, how the fuck do you know how many fucking
Jay
bikini?
is the realest dude that you'll ever meet, man.
Yeah,
I'm still like consider myself like a Jay Cutler fan.
yeah, yeah.
I always will be, but he remembers things like that are it just shows like what a genuine good guy that he is. Like he was like one of the first people that reached out to me, say welcome home when I got home from prison. Just a good dude. But
Yeah,
he's a really legitimate real bodybuilding fan, like
yeah, yeah.
what he does. So
Out of all the legends, he conducts himself the best as far as speaking about new talent.
yeah.
He doesn't make it about him all the time, because me, he gives the flowers. He shows
Yeah.
love to the new, and I think that's important because, bro, all these people look up to you. If all you do is talk shit about everybody that comes up, what is that, right? If you want to be better, help them, like he does. Help them then.
Yeah, there's a just an overwhelming amount of maybe it's just what I see on social media, but I like to go on the different pages and Muscle Discord, all these different pages, and people just hate so much now. So one thing that turns me off about it is the amount of like negativity that people throw because I don't know. I think that bodybuilding, of course, I have bodybuilders that I prefer and most of them are from when I was coming up. It's like a nostalgia thing too. You know what I mean?
Of course.
We were coming up. I want to be like Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler and Ronnie Coleman, and I could say that to me, those guys are the best. The guys now they're different, but they're
Exactly.
fucking good. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just different. It's all different now. But you can't like the negativity these guys get, and then you look at the people that are writing it and you're like, dude, who are you?
Exactly. I mean, I think most of us can say, well, we prefer, like, I can say I prefer Kevin, or I prefer Flex,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna say these guys are shit compared to them. Or like, it's like you said, it's different. I'm not even saying they're better, because I don't even think that's the case. I just prefer it because
Yeah.
we grew up on it. So we prefer them too. They prefer themselves, and we prefer them as well.
Yeah.
But we don't have to shit on these guys, bro.
No.
We don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to shit on these guys. We gotta give everybody flowers. Every generation has great guys, and they can all be great. We don't even have to compare them. We got to stop comparing every like tall black guy to Ronnie. There's no Ronnie. There's just one
Yeah.
Ronnie.
If you really wanted to be, this is going in a different direction, if you really wanted to be mad and be negative, you could really only put your emphasis onto the judges that have taken it this far, right?
I agree.
Because we had Marcus Rule back in the day. That was enormous. He was an absolute freak. And I don't think he ever did better than like sixth at the Olympia, but he was a true freak, And now there's guys that are huge, doing really, really well because it became a lot more about like how big you can get. But the guys are having striated glutes. They're bringing all these things in, and part of carrying all that size is it's going to be a much different overall shape.
Yes,
It's
100%.
not going to be the little tight waist, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone type. It's not going to look like that. It
No.
can't expect that. These guys, the introduction of eating more calories and growth hormone and all these things that have made the guys so giant, it's a completely different look overall.
But like you said, it's really up to the judges,
Yeah.
right?
If they said we're not going to reward any of this, right? There's of course there'd still be a Marcus Rule, of course. There'd be a Dave Palumbo that's like, I don't care, I'm just going to get big and freaky and enormous.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you're really trying to win and you're saying, okay, well, they're not rewarding that. I can't let myself get too out of proportion. You could have stayed closer, but it's just the evolution and the progression has gone to more. Dude, back then, the only guy that was 260 when I was coming up was Dorian Yates. Then Ronnie Coleman leveled it up from there. Now, guys everybody's 260.
Urge is classic and he's 260.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
No, but yeah, okay. So you take Hadi.
Mhm.
Hadi first Olympia, Christmas tree, glutes,
Yeah.
everything shredded. Because now you're thinking, oh, his back isn't as hard, right? But it was, and then he got fourth.
Yep.
Then he gets, I don't know, third. Comes in a little softer, second. Comes in even softer and wins.
Yeah.
So you're telling him, come fuller and fuller and fuller. Don't worry about the Christmas tree. Don't worry about. So that's what the fuck he's gonna do. Because when he was coming with the '90s look, right, with the dry, not so full. So you really got to blame. You got to get mad at the judges. Don't get mad at Hadi because he's living. And Hadi said it last year. It sounded kind of like rude, but he was just being honest. He was like, because Samson won, so he was like, okay, I see. The translation is probably weird, but he was like, I'm gonna come in big and soft, some shit like that, right? But I mean, is he wrong? He basically saying I'm harder, and the big guy won, so why would I come in hard?
Yeah. I mean, we all would, everybody that follows the sport, we would love to see. Can you imagine if Samson had glutes the way that like Urz's glutes were?
Yeah, really.
No one would touch him. It wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
It would. Now he looked really good at that guest pose. He looked really good.
I would argue he was leaner at the guest spot than he was on stage at the fucking.
It looked like it, but I'll tell you, you know what it is too is he has structurally he has shorter glutes.
He does, yeah.
And that's also Quentin has a similar where they have shorter glutes, so they have crazy hamstrings are nuts,
insane, yeah.
But I think because of the shorter glutes, like there's not as much. Some of these guys have huge asses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dial it down, and you see this big square chiseled up thing. So I don't think Samson will ever have glutes like that. He just structurally won't. But if he brings them in dried out all the way, I still think that he's the guy for a while.
I gotta be honest. Between like the surface area of his glutes and his complexion, I can't even see his fucking glutes.
That's another thing too. And I don't know what you truly could do about that. Is I remember I used to say when I went to my guys, right, when I was coaching, and like I have new guys that were black, they'll be like, "Do I have to put on protein?" I'd be like, "Yes." And they'd be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "Everybody has to." And I used to say, "You have to be as dark as possible. You can never be too dark." But honestly, in certain sometimes you actually maybe can be too dark because it's hiding what you can see back there.
I definitely, but then the Pro-Tan, it gives you a good undertone, right?
Yeah.
Because it's brown, bronze, because you don't want to be dark and like ashy looking. You don't want to be like gray. but some dark skin guys, the undertone isn't like nice, a bronze, So I think the Pro-Tan is still gonna help, but Terrence Ruffin sometimes up there, bro. Oh, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
And he like, bro, I know he's in shape, but you really can't see anything going. He talked about that too. He's like, because the lighting, they have to go for the middle ground.
Yeah.
So it's not made for pale, and it's not made for like really, really dark. So if you fall outside that spectrum, it's not going to look. But what else could they do if they make the lighting for him?
I think you have to be very careful with the way that you put the oil on. When you're that dark also, because just a little bit too much oil and that shine, you can't see anything.
I agree. Yeah. So I definitely learned you don't want too much shine.
Yeah, less, I think. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I've tried no Pro-Tan. I've tried layers, and I've tried just one application. I think one application is enough. Give you an undertone, but that's all you need about. So yeah. But some dark skin guys tan. Like Quentin actually goes tanning. He believes it dries the skin. I think it probably does.
I used to think that the tanning dried the skin out more too. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can only dry it so much. So everybody finds a formula that works for them. But when I got into it, I just asked all the Darcy guys, "Do y'all guys all use Protan?" And everybody said yes.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm like, there has to be a reason. So I kind of just been sticking to it. But PJ, that was a good one, man. That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I needed to do something.
Yeah. It started off probably too serious, but we got to bring it around. But yeah, PJ, you already know, man. Stay strong. Good luck with everything. Hopefully, the government stops fucking with you so much and lets you earn a damn living. Earn a damn living. Yeah, but let's catch up again soon, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, brother. All right, PJ.